Prince Wein of Natra Kingdom is beloved by the people, but in secret detests his responsibilities and treasonously plots to sell the kingdom. Natra Kingdom has long winters and no decent farmland, thus the economy is poor and its debts extensive. The only one who knows of Wein's selfishness is his assistant Ninym Ralei, who tries to keep him in line. The rich king of Martin is incompetent and hated by his citizens, so he plans to successfully invade Natra to make himself popular. Wein hopes to badly defend Natra, then negotiate to exchange the kingdom for money. Unfortunately, due to a deal he made with Earthwold Empire months ago for funding and training, plus a rousing improvised speech, his army actually defeats Martin, to Wein's great frustration. Knowing he must keep his general's loyalty and maintain his facade as a great ruler, Wein suggests invading Martin's largest gold mine, hoping his generals will respect his courageous suggestion but reject the idea as too dangerous. Unfortunately, the generals all agree to the invasion. Wein holds out hope the invasion will fail, but the mine is taken easily, bringing wealth to Natra and further convincing everybody Wein is a great ruler. Wein learns from his chief miner the mine is actually worthless. Martin's king Fushter is convinced by his corrupt advisors to send General Drowood and his army to retake the mine, even though it leaves their borders undefended. Still hoping to make a profit and suspecting Fushter doesn't know the mine is worthless, Wein decides to defend the mine for 1 month and let Fushter buy it back. After weeks of fighting, Drowood sends Commander Logan to negotiate peace. However, when Logan grossly insults Ninym, Wein beheads Logan, then personally infiltrates Drowood's camp and kills him for insulting Ninym, revealing just how strong his feelings for her are. It is revealed Wein is more capable than he seems, as he had attended Earthwold's military academy and came first in every class, an embarrassment to Earthwold, who kept his test scores a state secret. Wein learns Martin was invaded through its unprotected border by the Cavern Kingdom and Fushter is dead, ending his plan to sell back the mine. Thankfully, his chief miner discovers a new highly profitable gold seam. Wein plans to celebrate, but Ninym threatens him into returning to work, further reinforcing his desire to somehow sell the kingdom and retire. Princess Loa of Earthwold, a friend of Wein's and Ninym's from the academy, offers a political marriage. Wein is suspicious, as Loa is a notorious troublemaker. Loa privately reveals her 3 older brothers are fighting to become emperor, so she wants Wein's help to become empress. Wein is still suspicious, as Loa's visit has coincided with weaponry being smuggled into Natra. Falania, Wein's younger sister, wonders why Wein doesn't marry Ninym, but Ninym claims marriage is impossible due to her Flom people being discriminated against, so she is content knowing Wein loves her and only her. Loa and Ninym remember their other friends Glenn and Strang, while Loa reveals she has problems with Gerard and Gettle, who wants to marry her. Wein tutors Falania in interkingdom politics, focusing on Antgael. The current Antgael Marquess, Gerard's father Greenwich, is a notorious tyrant. Loa remembers how at the academy Wein recognized her ambition and bluntly told her to take what she wants, perhaps by starting a war. He also bluntly told her he would avoid helping at all costs, so she would have to drag him into her war by trickery, which she is currently scheming to do, and wonders how Wein will try to maneuver his way out of it. Wein confirms the nations conquered by the Empire are staging a rebellion. He also correctly guesses Loa's brothers are too busy fighting each other to have noticed, so Lowell is trying to manipulate Greenwich into rebelling early by using her betrothal as bait. Gerard arrives to claim Lowell as his fiancé. Wein reasons Lowell will manipulate Gerard into ending his father's rebellion using Natra's army, so Wein must try not to be manipulated into giving over his army. Gerard learns Wein was trained with a sword and asks for a demonstration. Wein intends the duel to be a draw, but Gerard is so incompetent Wein wins without trying. Furious, Gerard attempts to stab Wein in the back, but is so drunk he smashes through a window and falls to his death. Greenwich believes Gerard was assassinated by Wein and Lowell and prepares for war. The conspirators behind the rebellion are afraid war will cause the rebellion to be discovered. Wein is furious. He now faces war with Garen and probably the Empire. Lowell decides to focus on crushing the rebellion with Wein's assistance, but Wein reveals their current budget has limited Natra's army to only 500 men. Instead, they must somehow expose the rebellion so war can be avoided entirely. Wein pays an official visit to Antgael to return Gerard's body to Greenwich and discuss peace. The conspirators scramble to work out what Wein is up to. Wein reveals that Loa knows about the rebellion but offers to let Greenwich claim innocence by claiming Gerard was the real conspirator. Greenwich asks for time to consider, so Wein leaves, only for Greenwich to send the conspirators after Wein to get revenge for Gerard. Wein had been expecting this and realizes the conspirators are all from the Western Kingdom and had clearly tried to manipulate Greenwich into doing their dirty work for the rebellion, but the plot has now failed. Wein defeats them while Nanaki, Wein's assassin bodyguard, stops other conspirators from destroying evidence in Greenwich's castle. Greenwich chases Wein as he escapes back toward Natra, only to find Wein has stationed his army on the border, trapping Greenwich between Wein and Loa, who arrives with her own imperial soldiers. Having been exposed and captured, Greenwich admits to everything. With her mission successful, Loa calls off her engagement to Wein, though Ninym tricks her into confessing she likes Wein. Wein admits there were easier ways he could have defeated Greenwich, but this way means Loa now has control over him for use in the future. Loa returns to the Empire, hoping one day to be Empress so she, Wein, and Ninym can be friends like they used to. Wein is forced to visit Cavern Kingdom for Spirit Festival, a holiday of the Levitian religion. During the journey, he visits his captured gold mine and worries trouble might arise following the retirement of his general Hegel. Several Natra nobles, led by a woman named Ibis, plot to seize Wein's throne. Wein is ambushed by soldiers disguised as bandits, but is rescued by remnants of Martin's army led by General Zeno. Zeno threatens to assassinate Wein to prevent him allying with Cavarin. But as Wein suspects the bandits were Cavarin's soldiers, he offers Zeno access to Cavarin via his diplomatic status, allowing her to meet rulers of other kingdoms, potential allies against Cavarin. At Cavarin's capital, Tristoria, Wein meets General Lever and suspects he was behind the fake bandit ambush. Wein meets King Arbalest while Zeno almost assassinates Holinia, treasonous former advisor to her deceased king Fushter. Arbalest introduces Wein to the Holy Elite, Levitian's ruling members, and shocks everyone by inviting Wein as a new member. Wein meets privately with Elite called Melia, but leaves when she asks Wein to wipe out the remnants of Martin's army in exchange for her accepting him as Elite. It is revealed called Melia is allied with Owl, one of the Antgatal conspirators who lost an arm dueling with Wein. Ninym finds proof Levert is conspiring to kill Wein and overthrow Natra. At the same time, Ibis and the nobles take over Wein's gold mine. Wein realizes that by elevating him to Elite, Arbalest hopes to put Wein in his debt. Arbalest casually reveals he had a daughter who disappointed him, so he executed his wife, claiming she conceived their daughter in an affair with another man. He then enrages Wein when he asks to purchase Flom citizens of Natra Kingdom like Ninym so he can hunt them for sport. Wein murders Arbalest while Zeno gets her revenge by murdering Holonia. Called Melia frames Levert for conspiring against Arbalest and moves to seize power in Cavarin. Out of twisted gratitude to Wein, she sends a message informing him Natra has been seized by corrupt Natra nobles. With this information, Wein leads Levert and his men into a trap between the treasonous nobles' army and the Martin soldiers, forcing Levert to attack both. Wein also reveals he faked General Hegel's retirement, who arrives and destroys Levert and the Natran traders. Zeno reveals she is actually Martin's princess, though Wein knew this the whole time. Ibis reports to her master, called Melia, who begins plotting how to cause even more chaos. Zeno requests Martin become a vassal state to Natra, allowing Wein to rule Martin as well, which will make Wein's life even more difficult, amusing both Ninym and Zeno. Loa attends the summit of Imperial Heirs and Melter's merchant city, where she and her brothers will negotiate for the throne. Loa invites Wein, but Falania attends instead. Wein had intended to claim he was busy so as to annoy Loa, not expecting Falania to volunteer. Wein sends Ninym and Nanaki as chaperones and thoroughly educates Falania about the princes. Manfred gains support through cunning and bribery. Bardlaki is a soldier and has the support of the military, and the eldest, Demetrio, is a notorious troublemaker. Loa wants Falania to support her publicly, but is told Wein has no interest in an alliance with the Empire unless Loa is its empress. Falania learns of the Citizens' Assembly, where common merchants create laws, interesting Falania that Melter's is ruled by its citizens. Demetrio decides Falania's presence instead of Wein's is an insult. Pretending he desires alliance with Natra, he asks Falania to marry him, planning to abuse her terribly once she becomes his wife. He is surprised when Falania shows knowledge of political royal marriages, allowing her to temporarily refuse his proposal. Losing his temper, Demetrio swears to ruin Natra once he becomes emperor, only for Wein to suddenly appear, having heard Demetrio's angry outburst. Wein agrees to the marriage but claims he and Loa will marry as well. Realizing the two royal marriages would give Natra enormous power in the empire, Demetrio agrees to discuss the matter later. Wein, who displays symptoms of ill health, worries the Levitians will try stop Milters from joining the empire. Loa is worried the summit will fail. Worried about Wein's intentions, Manfred orders him assassinated. Falania spends more time at the Citizens' Assembly and is surprised when the merchants invite her to join in their debate. At his next meeting with Demetrio, Wein realizes the tea is poisoned by Manfred's assassin. Thinking Wein is trying to insult his hospitality, Demetrio drinks the tea himself before Wein can stop him and collapses. Demetrio survives, but Manfred and Bardlaki blame Miltars and surround the city with their armies. Wein decides they should escape to Natra, but Levitia's army also arrives, supposedly to save Miltars from Manfred and Bardlaki. The situation worsens Wein's health and he collapses. Falania gives a speech to the panicking assembly. Wein awakens and shares a caring moment with Ninym. Reasoning that citizens are more important than the city, Falania evacuates all 30,000 citizens who walk right past the stunned armies to ask a similarly stunned Milia for asylum. Knowing Levatia can't cope with 30,000 refugees, Wein steps in with a suggestion. Wein suggests Milter's citizens fight for themselves by buying the weapons from Levatia's army. Impressed, Melia almost refuses just to see Wein panic, but her King Gruyere accepts. Manfred and Bardlock meet with Wein, who claims Demetrio planned his own failed poisoning. Despite knowing this is a blatant lie, Bardlock and Manfred are forced to agree to avoid war. Lo is surprised Wein only got involved because Falania likes Melters and he didn't want her first political experience to end in failure. Ninym is impressed Wein has abandoned his plan to sell Natra, even though it is for yet more selfish reasons. Gruyere invites Wein to a ceremony in Solja's kingdom. Wein visits Martin, where he suspects Zeno will ask for a political marriage. Despite the advantages for Martin, Zeno never mentions marriage. Zeno asks why Wein concerns himself with the well-being of commoners, so Wein points out that far back enough in history, all royal families began with a commoner who distinguished themselves and founded the family line, so commoners all have the potential for nobility in the future, so it is wise to be wary of them in the present. He attempts to goad Zeno into discussing marriage, but having decided she would be an unfit queen for a king like Wein, she claims he is not her type, depressing him that his childish plan to thwart her proposal has failed. Western kingdoms under the Levatian religion refuse to trade with the empire, so Wein fraudulently labels imperial goods as Natran and sells them to the west via Martin. Prime Minister Sergius of Delunio confronts Wein over the fraud, but Wein dismisses him. Arriving at Soljas, Wein is impressed by its trading ports. Wein suspects Soljas King Gruyere will try to prevent imperial goods being traded and hopes to manipulate Gruyere against the hostile Delunio kingdom. Princess Tolchela, Gruyere's daughter, manages to distract Wein with Soljas' finest cuisine. Sergius demands back land at least to Martin, arguing that since Martin is now part of Natra, Martin Kingdom no longer exists, voiding the lease. Wein suspects Gruyere will try to assassinate him, but when Gruyere meets with Wein, he is surprised. Gruyere claims that despite being a Levatian elite, he does not think of Flams like Ninym as devils, and is quite liberal. He agrees to an alliance with Natra, but as Wein leaves, it is revealed Gruyere is working with Sergius. After returning to Natra, Wein is told Delunio has invaded Martin and Soljas has declared war on Natra. Zeno suggests Natra somehow make peace with Delunio, but Wein declares he has a plan to turn everything upside down. Sergius plots to donate the recaptured Martin land to the Levatian church in exchange for becoming an elite. While negotiating with Sergius, Wein offers to assassinate Gruyere, pointing out if Soljas keeps growing in power, it will likely go to war with Natra and Delunio. Overconfident, Sergius offers to accept Natran refugees after the war, so Wein declares Natra's 800,000 citizens will move into Delunio as refugees immediately. Knowing Wein already did something similar with Melter's 30,000 citizens, Sergius panics. Wein also falsely claims clothing he sold to Delunio via Martin was covered in a slow-acting poison and Delunio's citizens will soon die. Totally outmaneuvered by Wein's daring and scheming, Sergius is forced to agree to Wein's terms. Gruyere is defeated and imprisoned in Natra. Wein reveals Sergius' surrender cost him his political reputation and is no longer a threat. Gruyere agrees to sign peace declarations, but first demands to know what is truly in Wein's heart that drives him to such extremes. Wein's answer first shocks, then highly amuses Gruyere. The next day, Ninym points out achieving peace has cost Natra most of its wealth and its peaceful relationship with the Levatian church. Wein throws a tantrum as he realizes his plan to sell Natra is further away than ever and he has a lot of work to do to fix it.